The other day, I had a conversation with a property seller who reached out to us through a yellow letter, which is a piece of direct mail that we sent out to him. And he basically stated that he wasn't interested in selling. But after talking to him and really reading in between the lines, I could see that there is a level of interest with this particular seller because we wouldn't have been having a conversation in the first place. So I ended up talking with this seller and really drawing out the price point where he wanted to be in order to be able to create a deal, because he said he wasn't interested. He wasn't trying to give a price at first, but after really talking with him for a little while, he came up with a price point. He said he wasn't interested in seller financing, but then that presented itself to be an option after talking with him and just asking questions, just having a casual conversation with him, which is how these conversations should go. So I promised him that I would drive by the properties, which I did. And he promised me that he would discuss things with his wife in order to be able to see if we can put something together. So I told him I was going to give him a call back today. And that's exactly what I'm doing. If we can structure something, I basically want to hear what's on his mind after discussing things with his wife. And if we can put something together, I'm also going to do some research to see what those potential properties can rent for and what type of seller financed opportunities are available through this particular seller. Now, ideally, I would like to get equal monthly payments if it is possible, which basically means 0% interest through seller financing, but I'm not sure what he's going to say. So whatever he tells me, I'm going to take that information and try to fit it within my numbers to see if it turns out to be a good deal. I'm not sure how much he wants down. I'm not sure what type of terms he's looking to put together. And a lot of times I put the terms together, but I like to base my terms off of creating a win-win situation between me and the seller. It all depends on what he tells me, and then I can always rebut that with what fits for me and what I think would be a better deal at the end of the day. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to give him a call to see if we can get him on the line, see if we can structure something. And if we can, great. So let's go ahead and give this seller a call. Let's see where we can take this deal from here.
Hello.
This is Jamel Gibbs. How are you today?
Hey, Jamel, all right?
Good. I promised I was going to give you a call back today. Wanted to keep my promise, and here I am.
Yes, sir. Well, Jamel, you caught me at a bad time. I'm eating lunch. Give me about 45 minutes if you want to and call me back, please.
No problem. I'll call you back around. How's 2 o'clock? Is that okay?
That's fine.
Sounds good.
Sir, good.
Talk to you then. Bye. Thanks. Bye. All right. So he wasn't available as of right now, so I'll call him back in 45 minutes.
Hello?
It's Jamel Gibbs again. How are you?
I can talk now. I'm sorry.
Okay, good. I was just following up with you in regards to our discussion from the other day. I just wanted to see if you had an opportunity to speak with your wife about things.
Well, actually, no, buddy. I've had three plumbing problems and one heat problem.
Okay.
So you wanted me to get a final cash offer. I'll tell you what, I will do that within the next couple of hours, and I'll call you back, okay?
Why don't we talk in a couple of hours, and we'll take it from there.
Okay, but will you refresh my memory? Hewitt Street and Watkins Street, is that right?
Yes, sir. And anything else you might want to sell? We can start here, but we can. I'm interested in purchasing. Okay. So, if we can build a relationship where we can. I'm not sure how many properties you have, but if you want to offload them over the years, over time, we can do that as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I'm not going to do any financing. I think we settled on that, didn't we? No, you said raise the price. I'm with you. I apologize, Jamal. I've had so much happen in the last 3 or 4 days with my rental property.
Not a challenge.
No problem. I can handle it.
Okay.
You want me to give you a package on price with financing, right?
Yes, sir, if possible.
Okay, if possible. Okay, I'll call you back in a couple hours, I promise you.
Sounds good. I'm looking forward to it.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, bye.
Bye-bye.
So as we can see, based on this conversation right here, the seller is having issues with the rental properties at this point. That can raise the level of motivation for the seller, obviously. That presents a problem to him. He's 72 years old. Obviously, there aren't any mortgages on these properties because he bought them in the 70s. But even with them not being mortgaged at this point, these problems presents a lifestyle issue for him, right? So even though they're providing cash flow, they can present headaches, which obviously affects your lifestyle. Just having more conversations with this particular seller. I literally talked to him for a couple of minutes just now, and I was able to pick up even more of a reason why he would want to sell. Then that raises the level of motivation, whether he says it or not. And I can use that as ammo to be able to negotiate the terms that I want in order to be able to create a deal. So the more you talk to a seller, the more information you get out of them. You just let them talk, and then you create the situation. You just listen to what they're telling you. You come up with this reason that they would in any way, shape, or form want to sell, and you enhance that. You bring that issue to light in order to be able to create a deal. He said he was going to call me back in a couple of hours. I'm hoping that I can catch that on camera, and then we'll take it from there.
Hello, Jamal.
How's everything today?
All righty. I called you back. What's going on?
Yeah, I saw you call me. Sorry I missed your call.
No, me and my wife was talking. We really don't want to do any financing at all. I mean, we're 72 years old. If we did, we'd have to put the price so high you'd think we was out of our mind.
Yeah, so what do you have in mind for that? Let's say what was high for you?
How much down payment, that's got something to do with how much down payment were you planning on making?
I don't know. That's up in the air as well. Well, let me ask you this. If we were to do financing, what type of price would you guys have in mind?
Probably like I said, here a while back when everything was good and hot, in places over there were selling for 100 or so.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I know you think I'm crazy, but like I said, I don't want to finance, but if we did do financing, and that sounds crazy, $100,000 for an old house like it, but that's what it would take to make us move, because they're not for sale, but I'm not trying to be rude. It's just, it's just kind of, in other words, like if you had a truck sitting in your yard, Jamal, that you really liked, and I knocked on the door and said, "Hey, sir, I'd like to buy that truck. What would you take for it?" Well, you really didn't want to sell it. The truck's only worth $4,000, but you really don't want to sell it. But if somebody offered you $9,000, you take it.
Yeah,
what I mean?
Understood. So 100,000 is that for the one that doesn't need any work? What about the one that needs work?
Just right off the top of my head. Now, right off the top of my head, say 100,000 for the one that don't need work,
mm-hmm.
and 90 for the one that needs work. And
okay.
It wouldn't. 10 grand would fix it up in good shape, I'm sure.
Okay, so you're saying
that sounds crazy, but
so you figure $190,000, right? So 190 grand for both. Now, if we were to think about a down payment, what would you be looking at?
As much as possible.
So what does that look like?
Okay, but what kind of interest rate you talking about? If we finance it.
And I was thinking, what would be reasonable for you?
I'd have to check and see what the banks are getting now. I haven't borrowed no money, thank God,
Understood.
in a long time. I don't know what they're getting now.
I can definitely think about, a fair amount as far as interest is concerned. What would you be looking for? I know you said as much as possible, but what do you think is a reasonable amount for a down payment, roughly?
20%, 20% or something.
Okay. Understood. Let me ask you this. And I would have to run the numbers, obviously. If I made you an offer on something like this, 190 at 20% would do it for you. If we came up with that today, would you be willing to move forward?
Depending on the financing percentage rate and
mm-hmm.
how many years you want to carry it. That's a biggie too,
Understood. So here's what I have in mind. I'm thinking the one house needs a little bit of work. I'm fine with that, because time can heal all things, right? So you said it had a good tenant in there. So I'm going to factor in the fact that it is bringing in some money. $190,000. Would you do $20,000 down and maybe 4.5% interest?
Hold on, I'm writing this down, buddy. 20,000 down.
And
I'll have to discuss it with more. How many years?
Let's say we do let's say we do 5 years, but then a balloon payment. Say we do an amortization of 15 years, but then I'll do a balloon payment in 5 after 60 payments.
Amortization 15 years, but after 5, it has to be paid off with a balloon payment, right?
Yes, sir.
That's what you're saying? Okay. All right, let me run this by you again. All right, Hewitt Street is 100. Watkins Street is 90. So the two of them is 190,000.
Mm-hmm. 20,000 down.
20,000 down, not 20%. 20,000 down. Okay. 4% interest, 15-year amortization, balloon payment in 5 years.
You got it.
Okay. All right, bud. Well, like I said, we hadn't thought a whole lot further about it because I just told her we don't want to find, and that's nothing. But since I got you on the phone, Jamal, get your pencil and paper. I'm going to kind of run something else at you, which it may be far out.
Sure thing.
Okay. I've got a house right around the corner from these two.
Mm-hmm.
It is an old house. It is a duplex. The front is a one-bedroom apartment. The back is a one-bedroom apartment. The front has carpet that's been down about a year and a half.
Mm-hmm.
It's got paneling on the walls. It's got washing machine connection. It's got a big, huge front porch. There's asbestos shingles on the outside of the house, which that's no problem. All this scare about asbestos, that's no problem unless you start busting with a hammer.
Right.
Believe me, I've done this kind of work all my life. The roof is old, Jamal, but it doesn't leak.
Mm-hmm.
All right. The front unit, I'm taking a guess now, it's probably got 650 square feet in it. It's a one-bedroom unit. Okay, that's the front. It rents for $600 a month. Okay, I go through Section 8. Got a fantastic renter, been there for years and years and years, pays ahead of time, sometimes 2 months in advance, his share. Okay, then the back apartment is also one bedroom. It's got washer and dryer connections, been freshly painted. Got a renter that's been there probably 8 months, and she pays $600 also. $600 in the front, $600 in the back. They're older houses. I have no problem renting it. They're duplexes. I've got a guy that's talking to me about them, but me and him, he can't get on the same page. So I just thought I'd say, if you want to Google it, take a look at it. The area is coming up strong. It's right there on Merritt Drive, on a very popular drag there. You want to look at that? And
absolutely.
Start talking to me about that also. We'll talk.
Sure thing. What's the asking price on that one?
I don't know. Same as the others. Well,
I mean, what's fair? What's fair for you guys?
Well, the guy that's talking to me about it is trying to develop the block. So I guess let me just lay all my cards on the table. He's going to try to develop the block, and he's trying to get me to do a lot of paperwork on it. But with you, and I don't want you to go to no great lengths to do it. If you could give me a general idea of what you would offer on it, you could kind of give me an idea, which I'm not going to, he's not come up with near enough, but he's talking about putting it on the market and seeing what kind of bids we'll get. But since you're in the business and you probably know more about this than I do, if you could just Google it, take the information you got or whatever, take pictures of it or whatever, and just give me an idea of what you think that you would be willing to give for it. And it's on a huge lot also.
Okay. That sounds good.
It's, just run it. You know, you asked me this morning if I had anything else too, but I've got their thoughts on the other. And don't spend a whole lot of time on that one there, because I'm hoping the guy will buy it, but I got a feeling he's not going to offer me enough. That he's talking about what it's worth, this, that, and the other. But let's see what Jamal thinks it's worth.
Sounds good. So I'll definitely work on that for you. And you guys consider that other offer for me, and hopefully we can add all of this into a package and be able to make something work.
Right. What do you keep them and rent them or flip them or what?
I do a little bit of everything. Right now, I'm focused on passive income. I'm continuing to build my future for my family. So for me, I'm in my early 40s. I'm really thinking about 10, 15 years from now, 20 years. I don't want to, I'm trying to be like you when I grow up. You know what I mean?
I'm going to tell you right now, Jamal, the two we talked about, I might have told you this. Hewitt Street rents for $785. Section 8, she pays $0.
Yep.
I don't even have to ask her for a dime.
Yep.
Okay. The Watkins Street rents are $660, and I pay the water there, but his water bill is like $15 a month.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now the Hewitt Street one, I don't know if you've done a Section 8 or not. You can ask for increases, and I'm in the process of asking for an increase on her. Her rent's $785, and inflation's like 8.5. So whatever it comes to, I'm thinking her rent's going to go up a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So, but her house, I'm going to tell you right now, it needs nothing. Roof's been on it 3 or 4 years. Well, I'm going to paint the outside of it, but I'm going to paint the side. I don't need anything else. And it's on a main drag there too, and they're fixing to put a sidewalk in front of it. So,
yeah, for sure.
And
yeah,
I know what you're saying. I'm going to tell you right now. I started doing this when a whole lot younger than you, and somebody said the other day about buying a new pickup truck, which I can't. But I said if I had $60,000. Instead of buying a truck, I'd go buy a rent house.
That's right, man. That's the name of the game.
Yep.
For sure.
Yep.
You know, but I'm interested in all three. I'm particularly interested in all three. I love the duplex idea. If you're willing to sell it to me as well, you know, I definitely want the other two. So why don't we wrap this conversation for today? But tomorrow, that'll give you a little bit of time to think about, you know, the offer that we have on the plate. Okay. And I'll have some details on the other property for you by tomorrow. Does that work?
Sounds good, Jamel. I like the way you talk. Let me and my wife digest this, and I appreciate your conversation.
Thank you, sir. And I'm looking forward. I'll call you around. Yes, I'll call you early afternoon tomorrow. Does that sound fair?
Great.
I'll talk to you then, and you know, I'm looking forward to making some things happen with you.
Okay. All right. Thank you, buddy.
Thank you, sir. Bye. Turns out he wants $190,000 for both of these properties. He thought that was relatively extreme, but honestly, when I do the math, you know, they wanted $40,000 down. You know, I offered half of that, which is just shy of, you know, $20,000. So I offered 10% down. I offered 4% interest, and at $190,000, I offered a 15-year amortization, as well as a balloon payment in 5 years, which basically means I'm going to have to come up with a mortgage. I'm going to have to refinance these properties within 5 years. I don't know what the interest rate is going to be like in 5 years from now, but at least I made an offer that he's willing to consider. Now, here's why I made the offer at $190,000. Remember when we did the research in the previous video, we came up with $110,000 per property, bare minimum, right? So that means that combined, these properties would be worth $220,000. One of the properties needs some work. The other property doesn't need any work. And the property that doesn't need any work is a Section 8 rented property. Section 8 don't play. You got to have the property in good shape, right? The one that needs some work, the rents are low. I can always get those rents up. So if I'm doing some research here and I just go to rentometer.com or rentometer, however you say it, if I just pull up 3805 Hewitt, and I'm just getting a generalized idea of how much rents can go for in that particular area. I know it's a 2-bedroom, 1-bath property, and just analyzing it, right? Rentometer is telling me that the median in that area is about $1,050. So these properties are exactly the same. They have the same exact makeup. That means I can get at least $1,050 per property. Taking those numbers into account, at $190,000, it makes sense financially. Even if I have to put a little bit of money into the one, I won't put any money into it until that guy moves out. By then, I'm building equity in the property. If he's willing to finance these properties, I'm buying $220,000 worth of real estate, $490,000, gives me about a 30% spread, about 80 to 85 cents on the dollar, give and take. Don't quote me on that, but I'm buying it with some equity in it. I know that the rents are low. I know that I can get an increase in rent. So these properties have potential and they have the ability of seller financing. Now, I know he keeps saying, oh, I'm not interested. That's a psychological play when you're negotiating. He's really interested in selling. And I just made him an offer he couldn't refuse.
I'm going to make him an offer he can't refuse.
Now, because I made a great offer, he threw in a third property, which is a duplex. So I'm going to do some research on this particular property and hopefully get that thrown into the package. And I'm going to try to get it to where I won't have to put as much down on that particular property. And I can be able to get all 3 of these properties, 4 doors. Remember, a duplex and 2 single family properties, 4 doors with just $20,000 out of pocket, hopefully, and be able to create the cash flow from that. So that's it for today's video. I really just wanted to show you guys the conversation between me and the seller and how I presented the offer. Notice what I did as well. I didn't necessarily throw out the first number. In negotiation, the person who throws out the first number doesn't win the negotiation. What I did was I kept asking him, so what do you think? What's fair for you? And I want him to come back and tell me what he thinks so that I can then go ahead and tell him what I think on the other end. So 190 was a fair price, especially with seller financing. I could have negotiated 0% interest, but he threw out interest rate. So I went with an interest rate that I believe is fair for this particular market. As of today, the interest rate is over 7%. I threw out 4%, right? He's considering that. He threw out 20% down. I said 10%. So now we're in negotiation. Now I've built trust in this seller. They know that I'm serious. And now we can potentially create a deal. I'll be sure to record tomorrow's conversation. We're going to continue this process. Hopefully we'll be able to put a deal together. Who knows? We'll see. Hopefully we'll get a chance to see these properties at some point. Whatever happens, I'm trying to document the entire process so that you guys can see how it's done. I hope that you enjoyed this video. Once again, be sure to like it, subscribe, click the notification bell. I'll see you guys on the next one. Take care.